G'day fellas, and welcome to, no, it is not a casted game, it is a breadcrumb review video. This is a breadcrumb that has been dropped by the Age of Empires 4 Twitter, and we're going to take a look at it. I don't know if breadcrumb's the right term. It's probably not a breadcrumb. It's this is some, they're hyping us up. They're getting us ready for the new DLC. We got some more information on the Knights Templar. We're doing a different type of video here today, because I just want to focus on this. I don't want to focus too much on the cast. I just want to keep it about what the topic is at hand. So let's look at what we've got. We've got the fortress, unique to the Knights Templar. It has an aura that improves nearby units' range. Each fortress increases number of pilgrims traveling. There's a lot of words in there that we're going to need to dissect and break down. Now, not only are we going to be looking at this piece of media, we'll also be getting a look at the pilgrim, and we'll go have a look and see what Reddit has got to say. So, of course, we can see that there is a progression of physical nature. Not only do you have that feudal age, castle age, imperial age look that's going on here, but we've also got the addition of those emplacements. So we have all of the new upgrades, technologies, and emplacements that they're going to be bringing in, including the trebuchet emplacement. So a little bit similar to the Ottomans in that they've got a great bombard emplacement. I do love just how aesthetic this is, though. The fact that you can actually see the trebuchet on top. Now, it is technically a hui power, but look, we'll let them call it a trebuchet. So there's a whole bunch of different upgrades that we can get. We'll talk more about those a little bit later. Let's go back and talk and break this down a bit. So obviously we know it's unique. That means that nobody else is getting it. It has an aura that improves nearby units' range. So if you've got a unit that's got 5 range, then it might go to 6 range. If you've got a unit with 10 range, it might go to 12 range, something like that. And then each fortress increases the number of pilgrims traveling. So this is actually quite a cool piece of information, because what they're telling us here is that you can have more than one, which means this isn't a landmark that you're building. This is a replacement for the keep. It is a fortress that you're getting, which means they're not unique in the sense that they're a landmark. You can build as many as you like. And I like that. That's really, really cool. And one of the next thing it says is increases the number of pilgrims that are traveling. So someone over on Reddit said this is what the pilgrims look like. If you actually go to the YouTube video, you'll be able to see the pilgrims at 57 seconds. So we've slowed it down as much as we possibly can here. We could probably even do a frame by frame. Let me make it bigger. We'll have to increase the quality here. We're going up to 4K, and up towards this top right-hand corner is where you can see the pilgrim, and you can see how they're interacting with that sacred site. They're doing something with it. So you can see there's multiple pilgrims that are traveling towards that. So this is one of those little breadcrumbs that they've left in here for us, where very intentionally they've put it here. So shout out to the devs, because I know exactly, you know, that was 100% intentional. Nothing that they do is unintentional. Let's just put it that way. Very intentional. So well done to them. So it increases the number of pilgrims traveling. So now it's the question, okay, well, what do pilgrims do? We know they're not going to be religious units, right? Because if we look at the way that they're interacting with the sacred site, that is not something that we've ever seen before. That the way that it sort of pulses out around this sort of animation, they're not capturing the sacred site. I think it's going to be something to do with resources. It's going to be whether it's generating a new type of resource, the same way that the Byzantines generate olive oil, or whether it's just going to be maybe generating gold, something like that. But there's a good Reddit post that we'll get into, and that kind of dissects it a little bit and talks about thematically what it might be from the Knights Templar and the role that the fortresses had. But let's talk more about their upgrades, technology, and their emplacement. So they've got access to desert citadels, treasure towers, boiling oil, springald emplacement, iron clamps, and the trebuchet emplacement. So I would suspect that these are going to be your castle age. So maybe even desert citadels would be available in the second age, because it's probably in order that they're coming, because we've got down here the trebuchet emplacement, which is typically going to be the 4th age, and then the 3rd age on the springald emplacement. So that's my suspicion here, is we've got desert citadels. So I wonder what kind of bonus this is going to provide. But judging from the name, I've got no idea what this could be. Then we've got treasure towers, another cool concept. I'll be honest with you, I've got absolutely no clue. I'm trying to think of, like, you don't really get bonuses to biomes, so desert citadels definitely doesn't make sense in the context of a biome. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. It's probably like a additional range or something like that. Who knows? We'll wait and see. All right, let's check in, though, over on the Reddit post and see what further information we can grab from that. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to come through and check out this Reddit post as well. So Bear in Winter says, I believe this is the first time we've seen a mention of the pilgrims traveling, and the fact that fortresses aren't unique is also big news. Each new breadcrumb increasingly shows how unique the Templars are as a civ, and I'm loving it. And I got to agree with you. We're just going to be careful of the word unique. I think I used it earlier as well. Unique is, within the context of it being unique to the civilization, absolutely, but not unique within the sense that you can only build one. Like the Wingard Palace is unique in that it's a landmark, right? You can only get one. Or that's probably not the best. The White Tower. There you go. You know, you're not going to have multiple White Towers, so it's non-unique in that fact. So let's take a look at the next one. So pilgrims need to go to the sacred site and farm gold this way. Edit. The original concept of the Templar was to protect the pilgrims on their way to Jerusalem, which was a sacred site. So the devs might orient the gameplay around this. And I think that this is definitely, this could be a huge component, because one of the things that they talked about early on when they were talking about this DLC was the fact that they wanted to keep things historically more accurate. They really wanted to try and tie in with that. So I think it makes a lot of sense for them to do that. If we take a look here at the vision once again, the way that the pilgrims are moving, and the fact that it says here, each fortress increases the number of pilgrims traveling. So if we imagine that, each pilgrim on the sacred site, or maybe it travels to the sacred site and then something happens. I don't know whether it disappears or something like that. Probably doesn't disappear, but it increases the number of the pilgrims that are traveling. So it almost sounds like it could be a mechanic like trade in a way, because you've got pilgrims that are traveling, and who knows, maybe there's like a little mini game. One of the things that we did see in this trailer as an example is like this kind of thing, and maybe there's like a mini game or a mechanic. I don't want to say mini game, but like a mechanic where you have to go from sacred site to sacred site, and this is the new sacred site that you've got to travel to, and then that allows you to generate resources or generate something that you can then use to empower your units or something like that. But essentially that is pretty much it. What other posts do we have in here as well? We've got, I wonder what pilgrims do. I'm also wondering if the fortress is their landmark, but they can make multiple copies across it. So I don't think it is going to be their landmark. And we've got Even Jesus Can't Save You saying, it looks like they can interact with sacred sites, so maybe they capture them, or maybe they act as traders where they go back and forth between fortresses, for example, traveling. Maybe that's reading into the traveling bit too much, and that they might just increase the capacity. Maybe that's reading into the traveling bit too much, and that might just increase the capacity. No, I think that makes sense, right? Each fortress increases the number of pilgrims traveling. I mean, it increases the amount of pilgrims that are traveling. We'll have to wait and see exactly what the pilgrims do. I tell you what, it is it's incredibly exciting. If you haven't already had a look at this one, let's quickly just go over this. I'll move it up to the normal speed, and we'll bring in a little bit of sound here as well. Let's take a look. So we'll focus on the Knights Templar, because there's obviously two new civilizations. You know what? We'll talk about both of them. It says French variant. It's not. It's a brand new civ. I don't know why they keep saying French variant, man. So this is it here. So they've got access to a whole bunch of different unique units. So we can see one back here, the Teutonic Knight. There's another one here, which is a Javelineer. It's got its javelin ready to throw. And then we've got the Trebuchet. You can actually see that's the Trebuchet on top of the keep. And one thing to note, on top of the fortress, one thing to note is it appears that the stone walls are connected to this fortress, which makes me very excited. If they have got a fortress that you can wall to, that is just, that's so good, because at the moment you can't wall, like your fortress is not part of your stone walls. You either build stone walls around it or behind it or in front of it, but you don't do it to the actual keep itself. So that is a huge development as well. And you can see that's the Trebuchet boulder that's thrown down and comes down and takes out the mangonel. And we've also got some more unique units in here. So I believe these are the Venetian ships that are coming through, and they've got that fire. And once again, this is where I think we're probably going to have that change in mechanics, because we're seeing it again here. There is a keep on the corner, and it is being walled to directly. Now, keep in mind, you can technically do that in the current version of Age of Empires 4, but this little gap, the units can go through. But the fact that we see it twice in the trailer, and if you look at like the extent where they go to putting that tiny little breadcrumb in with the pilgrim in that one little clip that's later on, I can't help but feel like there is a very good reason they are showing us this. So I'm hoping that for our sake they've done that. Beautiful English base, by the way. So this is the English variant, throwing off their daggers. We get to see the new historic battles. We'll pause it for the pilgrim once again, and you can see the Treb firing off. Look how, did you see the boulder, how slow it was going through the air? So we get the historical battles.
A new French battalion is joining the fight.
Get that wonderful arch on the longbow, the new longbow. or rather, wonderful arc. Let's see if we can get it. Pause. Boom. There we got it. Nailed it. First frame right there. So there we can see that pilgrim in the top right-hand corner. And as I said, there is a reason they do it. They are 100% putting that little crumb there for you. So that's essentially it. Look, overall, though, I'm excited. I'm super duper excited about the way that this is moving forward. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm curious what your thoughts are, though, in the comments, so feel free to leave them down below. We can keep the discussion going. If you've got any idea on what desert citadels, treasure towers, or iron clamps might actually do, or maybe what trebuchet emplacement will do, or hui hui pow emplacement might do. We're not going to call it that, though. Anyway, we'll leave it there, and of course, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.